Hello, Detective Banks. I want to play a game.
You should probably run. Hell no. Do you believe in ghosts?
Hello everyone, Joshua Myers here, and welcome back to my 31 Days of Halloween Review series. And today I am going to be covering VHS from 2012.
Okay, here's the deal. We gotta break into this house, and all we have to do is steal this one VHS tape.
Which one is it?
I don't know, man. Let's just
Look at this tape.
What's so special about this tape anyway?
You're all gonna die up here. I like you.
Did you erase it?
VHS stars Calvin Reeder, Lane Hughes, Adam Wingard, Hannah Fearman, Mike Dolan, Joe Swanberg, Sophia Takal, and it's directed by David Bruckner, Glenn McQuaid, Adam Wingard, Ty West, Matthew Oakland, and Tyler Gillette. The plot of VHS is that a group of misfits are hired by an unknown third party to burglarize a desolate house in the countryside and acquire rare tape. Upon searching the house, the guys are confronted with a dead body, a hub of old television, and an endless supply of cryptic footage. Each video stranger and more inexplicable than the last. Okay, so we're finally here. We're discussing the VHS franchise now. This is going to be the beginning of my VHS franchise review series, starting with this one, VHS from 2012, all the way to the newest one that just came out, VHS Beyond. And before we get on to the rest of this review, this wasn't a first time watch for me. This is actually the second time I've watched VHS. The first time was a while ago. I believe it might have been, I don't remember how long ago it was, but it was like very recently that me and my brother actually did watch this for the first time. And yeah, I definitely got some thoughts on this movie, so let's get right into it. Now, how I'm going to approach me discussing this film is I'm going to discuss each segment individually. That includes the wraparound segment, the different stories throughout it. There will be almost like a title card that pops up when I talk about each individual segment. So let's get right on to it. So the first segment I'm going to be talking about is a segment called Tape 56. Tape 56 is the wraparound segment, and actually does star one of the writers and directors of this film, Adam Wingard, which for those who don't know, Adam Wingard was responsible for directing a segment, of course, in VHS. I think he directed a segment in VHS 2. He did the film You're Next, 2016's Blair Witch, and he did Godzilla vs. Kong and Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire, which just came out. So yeah, you would most notably know him for doing Godzilla vs. Kong and Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire, as well as probably Blair Witch from 2016. But yeah, he plays one of the thieves that are hired to... Okay, so essentially this is essentially what I mentioned, where a bunch of like thieves are hired to burglarize a house on the countryside, and then they encounter a dead body, and they're supposed to try to collect these VHS tapes. So, and that's how it kind of starts into each segment, because they start putting in the different tapes and that, and starts, you know, each story. So This is the wraparound segment that kind of intercuts between the main. Like, it starts off the main, starts off the film and kind of introduces like each of the different stories that you're about to see in the film. And personally, for me, my thoughts on the wraparound segments is air. I mean, they had to come up with a way to be like, oh, this is introduce the segments, right? So this was, I guess, the best they got with. But my problem with the segment is, and this is going to be a common theme you're going to see throughout the rest of this review and talking about the different stories, is the characters are assholes. They literally, our introduction to these assholes is literally like shows them trying to, they end up assaulting a woman, which apparently she was with either her boyfriend or husband, or just friend or whatever, and they go on and just try to get it to where it shows her boobs and capture it on camera, and I'm just like, yeah, these guys are fucking assholes. And it's like, among other things, but that one was a big one. So, yeah, I don't think you're supposed to like these dudes. I will say everybody who was in there did a great job of making these characters completely unlikable. So, yeah, and then, so whenever, and again, I'm not going to get into spoilers with any of these segments or anything like that, or just the movie in general, so that you guys could still go see the movie and be surprised by each segment. So, and yeah, but what keeps this segment from really being unwatchable is that, again, just like in some of these segments, a lot of these characters do get their comeuppance at the end, and a lot of times it's very satisfying. So, if it wasn't for that, this segment on its own would be completely and utterly unwatchable. Like, I would literally have to skip this segment. So, if I were to give Tape 56 a rating, I would probably give it a 1.5 out of 5 stars. Because what really ruins the segment for me is the unlikable characters. That's really it. If it wasn't for that, this would be a bit higher, but still, it still wouldn't be nothing worthwhile. Okay, the next segment is called, that we're going to be moving into, is called Amateur Night. This is one that essentially is a bunch of like dudes, like friends, and I going out wanting to party, get drunk, pick up women and stuff like that. This one is directed by David Bruckner. Now, if you don't know who David Bruckner is, he is the one responsible for doing films like The Night House and also the Hellraiser remake that came out in 2022. Which I will be covering the Hellraiser remake at some point, so... but yeah, so a really good filmmaker. I still have not seen The Night House. And this is another one that's played by unlikable characters. There's only one character in the film that I just don't really see as unlikable, and it's this, because it seems like this dude, I forget his name, but it seems like he's kind of like pressured. It's almost like he's peer pressured into being this, so, he seems, like, the character seems like a decent person, but just, I guess he's kind of peer pressured by his, asshole friends and stuff like that, and it's just like trying to fit in. So at least there's one semi-likable character in this segment, in this story. But again, just like with the previous segment, what makes this from being completely unwatchable is that, it has a really good payoff. It has some pretty cool effects too and everything like that. In fact, actually, I heard this movie, based because of the concept, did end up having its own spin-off movie, essentially, like full movie, So that's cool. I think it's, the movie in question is called Siren. Maybe I'll check it out. Maybe I'll check Siren out. Tell me in the comments below if you guys think I should watch Siren after I cover the VHS franchise. Because of all this, I would give Amateur Night a 2 out of 5 stars. Again, it's better than the first segment with tape 56, so the wraparound segment. And that's because A, has at least one decent character in there. And B, the payoff is actually pretty good. It has some pretty good, special effects and stuff like that. There's some stuff in there I'm like, how the hell do they even do that? Overall, still not great, but better than the first segment. Now, the third segment in this movie is called Second Honeymoon. And essentially it's about a couple, a husband and wife going on, of course, their second honeymoon and all that stuff. And strange things starts to happen while they're on their honeymoon. And of course there's some tension between the two couples. So again, I'm not going to give away the twist in this segment, which the only thing I will say is when me and my brother were watching this film, especially with this segment, we both thought it was going to go in a certain direction, and then by the end when it was like reveals this twist and everything, both our mouths were literally like, and then we turned to each other like, we were like that. It was just like jaw dropping. So pretty good twist, pretty solid twist. And honestly, didn't have too much of unlikable characters. This was actually a pretty solid little short story. Now, this one was directed by Ty West, which if you don't know who Ty West is, but at this point, he is responsible for most recently his X trilogy. Started with X and Pearl in 2022, and most recently Maxine. Still have yet to see those. I will be probably covering them at some point since I got X and Pearl. And at some point I will pick up Maxine. So yeah. So very solid little short story / short film by Ty West in this segment. So I would probably give Second Honeymoon a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Again, really solid short film. Like, really solid. The next segment in VHS is a segment called Tuesday the 17th, which again is a play on Friday the 13th, so this is a slasher story. And it's a very kind of interesting slasher story. So you get a few, young adult friends going out into the woods, just, kind of do the typical slasher thing, have fun, probably get laid, all that different stuff, but one of them seemed to have, someone in the group might have an ulterior motive for coming, and that, and and of course there's the killer out there and all that stuff, picking them off one by one, and the way they do about this is very interesting, a very interesting concept and everything like that. In regards of a slasher movie, I don't think I've seen anything quite like it in that regard for a slasher movie. Just for that alone, I would give Tuesday the 17th another 4 out of 5 stars. Honestly, this was a really solid segment. Actually, you know how I mentioned the segment Amateur Night turned into a gained its own spin-off film called Siren. I would like to see a spin-off film from this, like a full-fledged film of this, of Tuesday the 17th. I would love that, actually. Because I think it could have been fleshed out more, and all that stuff, and create a really unique slasher movie. So, yeah. And then the next segment is a segment titled, and this one's a doozy title, The Sick Thing That Happened to Emily When She Was Younger. That is a long-ass title there. This one is about a woman, I believe it's her name, Emily, who is, kind of been communicating with her boyfriend, who is a doctor, all that stuff, and she's experiencing some strange things to her body. She's also been apparently experiencing some supposed paranormal activity and stuff like that. So some strange things is going on in her apartment. So, and again, I am not going to give away the twist or the stuff that goes on in this segment. And this is another one where, again, it does have douchebag characters in it. The characters do make some rather stupid decisions, just like in a lot of stereotypical horror movies. But I will admit, even with the like douchebag characters in it does have a pretty like what the F kind of twist in that. And yeah, didn't saw it coming whatsoever. I was like, okay, where's this heading into? So overall, I would say not as solid as some of the other ones I give rating, but I will probably give The Sick Thing That Happened to Emily When She Was Younger a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Okay, and now for the final segment that closes out the film, and that is October 31st, 1998. So, this one is directed by the Radio Silence team, Matthew Oakland and Tyler Gillette. And in fact, I think both of them actually starred in the segment too, as the characters Matt and Tyler. Obviously, referencing names in real life. This is yet another Radio Silence movie that I'm reviewing for this 31 Days of Halloween review series. So, this one, so essentially the plot of this one is that you get a couple group of young adult friends who, it takes place on Halloween. They're wanting to party, go to this party and all that stuff, so they drop by this house where the party's supposedly happening. And it seems like the house is completely vacant, and again, weird stuff starts happening. And overall, this is a really solid, it's like a really fun haunted house kind of segment. Has some pretty cool effects in it. And again, it just goes like, the twist was kind of predictable, I will admit, so not one of the most shocking twist, but definitely a fun concept. Again, another, I don't see it really being able, I can't really see this turning into a full film like I could with Tuesday the 17th, or even what it did happen with Amateur Night, that went into a full film called Siren. So, but overall, a solid short film. I think I probably would give October 31st, 1998 a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Pretty solid overall. What rating would I give the overall movie? That's a tough one, because there are some really good segments in this movie, some that I really like, but then also too, there's a lot of segments that either were just mid to pretty bad. So I'm going to give VHS a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Overall, it is a solid movie. It's a solid it's a solid found footage horror movie, and did kind of give rise to a lot of really talented filmmakers like David Bruckner, Adam Wingard, Radio Silence, with the Radio Silence team, Matthew Oakland and Tyler Gillette, Ty West. Some really solid filmmakers were at the helm of this movie. And again, there were some solid segments, some that I really liked, and would like to see explore more in a full-length movie on their own. Others were, again, had a solid enough concept and all that stuff, but it's I didn't really felt like, they could translate well into a full-length movie, they're perfectly good with being, short stories, essentially. And then other segments that I just didn't really care for whatsoever. So, overall, I would say VHS is a mix of a solid movie and mixed bag. There's so it's kind of somewhere in between that for me. I will be covering the rest of the VHS franchise at some point. I think this month, me and my brother do plan on watching VHS 2, so maybe I'll drop that as a review for this month. I don't know. So that's it for this review, and before you click off the video, be sure to hit the like button, and if you're new to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching, and see you next time.